Hello, I'm Gwen Edwards, and welcome to our lives. Did you know that a significant number of young adults in this area, right here in southwestern Connecticut, are seeking shelter at homeless shelters? My guest today is helping with this problem. Rafael Pagan Jr. is the executive director of the Pacific House, formerly the Shelter for the Homeless, which is located in Stamford. And we want to thank you so much for coming.
You're welcome.
Okay, so we're talking about the Gold Coast of Connecticut.
Yes.
And I don't think I'm the only one that didn't realize that we have a homeless problem amongst young adults.
Absolutely. I could tell you that at any given year in the last 10 years since I've been in Stamford, we've averaged between 25 to 35 young adults who come into emergency shelter. We'll share with you a quick experience. On my first day in the emergency shelter, I'm welcoming people coming into the shelter and introducing myself. And all of a sudden I see this car pull up in front of the shelter, and this young man gets out, couldn't look older than 16, walks towards the shelter, and he looks very frightened. So I certainly go and speak to staff and see what was happening. Turns out this poor young man had aged out of foster care, and he was being dropped off and was homeless.
Oh my goodness.
And landed up in our emergency shelter.
And talk about aging out of foster care. At age 18, support services are no longer available to?
Well, to many of them. There are some services that are available for some of the young adults that stay in the system. But many of them who either are not pursuing a school or are not in somewhere engaged in some type of education tend to fall out and fall between the cracks. And unfortunately, you know, if you look at the nationwide data, stats will tell you that over 60% of a lot of the young folks that go through foster care become homeless.
So tell us what you're seeing at Pacific House in particular.
Well, at Pacific House, we knew there was a problem, and we would get young adults coming in and would leave in a few days, and we really didn't have an idea where they would go and how big the problem was. We were fortunate that about a year ago, we were able and had the capacity to sort of segment and create a new program. And we thought we would start with 3 or 4 beds. We had gotten this young man from Greenwich and was still in high school. So we said, well, let's try to create a different environment for him and see if we can get him through school. Unbeknownst to us, all of a sudden, from 1 we went to 3 within less than a month. From 3 we went to 6 in less than 2 months. And by the end of 3 months, we had 16 young men in our emergency shelter.
Who are in high school?
Not all in high school. They were coming from different parts of the town and for different reasons. But we had a couple that were from in high school. And today we have a 12-bed unit that's actively engaged in providing services for young adults, and it's full. And
talk about that. You've been able to hire a specialized case manager?
Yes, we, upon realizing the problem, and you know, we've always suspected that typically there were an average of 200 or 300 young people out on the streets in Fairfield County. But you know, we just didn't know where they were staying, what was happening. Many of them were couch surfing. As we've gotten to know the problem more and more, we've been able to realize that they're certainly out there. So we created this unit. We went to a foundation that has chosen to stay anonymous. They gave us $100,000 to furnish a room, fix it up, and hire a case manager who really specializes with providing services for these young adults.
So they have a designated living area, somewhere where they can do their homework.
Well, yeah, we provide time to be in our computer room, so they're able to access computers. They have a safe haven in that room, separate from the rest of the population. We've even been able to provide a separate bathroom, so they have much more privacy, and it's also transgender friendly. So we're able to welcome anyone that needs to be able to come into the shelter, a safe environment and a supportive environment.
Okay, well, we want you to stay where you are. The Pacific House is nonprofit, and they're having a big fundraiser coming up, and we're going to bring you all the sweet details when Our Lives continues. So you stay with us.